Uh, this session focus on student hall. So the senior student will share their experience and hopefully will be useful to your future. And we will focus on that. If you have any questions that is not related to the student hall or living on campus, let's save it to the end. And I will see if we should answer that or we should deal with that on emails or later on. Okay. Do remember when we promise you there will be a series of sessions, we do have another one. So we will not answer all questions in one session. Okay. But today we will focus on living on campus, stay in the dormitory. Okay. If you have any questions during the process, you may type in the chat box, but I will, well, if you have anything that specifically you want to ask that person, we will ask if anyone has a question after one presentation, each presentation. But at the end, we will also have Q&A session. Okay. I think I should stop talking because of the renovation here. I will start passing the time with Alishan, who will start presenting. Okay. Alishan, please.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, can everyone see? Okay, great. Let me start. Hello again, everyone. My name is Alijan. As previously told, I'm majoring in chemistry. I'm coming from Kazakhstan. I'm really happy to see also new students coming from Kazakhstan. There's a lot of Kazakh community, as some of you may know. I'm incoming year three student, so I just had 2 years in BU, and for those 2 years, I've been living in halls, specifically young hall. There are four halls in HKBU, as you may see here. This is all coming from the HKBU website. You can all look at it, search for it. And so a little bit about the hall. The thing about the halls is that they're divided into two towers. And as you can see, there are four halls. And the young hall occupies the odd floors of the south tower. And in the same south tower, the even floors are belonging to Thai hall. But I think next year is going to be all changed because the north tower is going to be closed for renovation and all halls are going to relocate to south tower. And of course, there's a new whole village care opening, which is another story completely. And yeah, a little bit more about the hall. It's named after the elite Chinese figure, Professor Cheng Ning Yang, theoretical physicist. He's actually over 100 years old at this moment. He's the only living person out of all people that are halls named after at this moment. So Young Hall has an Instagram page. I provided the link right here. Every year they have a um, council changing, so there are gonna be elections. Your role in that is just, taking your vote and participating in them when they appear. So as you can see on this slide, every year they have a name for themselves. For example, when I first moved in, there was a Youngliand. Then they changed to Young Gravel and Young Sci-Fi. So,
Alishan, for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, your presentation go back to the first page.
oh yeah, yeah. I just wanted to show
Oh,
the
yeah.
logos. Yeah, yeah,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah. It's okay. I just wanted to show the logos of these councils. You can meet them. I know a couple of people who had the same classes as me. They were telling me that they're in the council of the Young Hall. So yeah, I hope you will be um, in touch with them. And the Young Hall's motto is a hall with a heart. And other halls also have their mottos. I hope my fellow students from other halls will tell you that, but you can see them on the slide. Talking generally about the room structure, there's two types of rooms in the south and north tower both. There's a two-person room and a three-person room. You can be assigned to either one. You can be it can be indicated on your application which one do you prefer. Um, of course, the third three-person room is a little bit cheaper, as I'm aware. For the whole 2 years, I was living in the two-person room. I was indicating it as my preference for the 2 years. But the main feature is that this your room is going to be connected to your neighboring room, and the whole thing is going to be called a unit, and you're going to be sharing toilet, bathroom, sink. I mean, there are two sinks at least, but the toilet is one, the shower is one, And as you can see on the picture, there are two doors on the unit here. So one is going to your room and another going to your unit mates. Your unit mates can be either also two-person room or a three-person room. As you can see on the picture, uh, it's either left and right position if you're in two-person room, or left down and up, and two on the up position, two on the down position. Um, yeah, and regarding the contents of the room, I combined this little list of things that will and will not be provided, because for me it was also a bit of a like when I first came to halls, I figured out that they're not providing pillows, for example, they're not providing beddings, which I expected wrongly. So I had to go to nearest mall, and it all can be bought nearby. Um, Also, adapters, be careful, because Hong Kong uses the British three-pin adapters or sockets. So be sure that you bring adapters with yourself. It can be also be bought in Hong Kong, but I believe that once you arrive, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble finding them, because you have to know the places where to find them. What is provided is a mattress, a mini fridge. It can be either this small mini fridge, or it can be actually double the size. Um, it depends on your room, and unfortunately, you cannot change that. You cannot pick the which fridge do you get. The air conditioner, as you can see on the top of the room, above the fridge, is located in your room. You have to pay for it. There's a standard flat rate for the electricity charge. As per my experience, it really depends on how much are you spending. I would not recommend just blasting it all the whole day. That's gonna burn all your money probably. So just when you come from the outside, or when you're really sweating, it's really hot outside, then do use air conditioner. The payment system is located on the floor near the lounge. You will have to pay with Octopus card. That's I believe maybe you heard hearing that for the first time. Octopus card is a transportation and payment card in Hong Kong, and everyone has it. You will have to get it once you arrive. And you will actually also have a student discount for a metro. But with that card, you will be able to use any transportation in Hong Kong, almost any, and you'll be able to pay almost in any location, shops, cafes, anywhere. But and so moving on to more stuff that is provided within the room is a desk light and a chair. Again, I would like to go back to the pictures here. As you can see, those green chairs that are standing near the desks, and above them, there's a light that you can turn on and off. I think it's quite sufficient, so please don't bring. If you need, of course, you can bring extra lamps, but the desk light is quite sufficient. Um, what is also provided in the common room in the lounge is a big fridge and a big freezer. So as you can see, that fridge is really small, and according to the whole regulations, you're only permitted to have some snacks and drinks there. Of course, it would not be wrong to just store like ketchup there, but for like big purchases like frozen meats and frozen vegetables or something of that sort, there's a big fridge in the lounge and the freezer. Be sure to mark your stuff, like when you have your plastic bag of fruit or of your food, so that nobody, even by mistake, is the stealing is not really present in halls. There were a couple of instances, small instances in my whole experience, but generally people don't steal, even though there are no cameras as of now. But I heard that they're going to be installing cameras in the lounge, in the common areas of the halls. So yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, be sure just to mark your stuff, and so nobody mistakenly, because some people buy the similar stuff, people buy the same chicken, people buy the same beef, so just be sure to mark your stuff. Regarding the kitchen, there is an induction stove. So if you never use it before, because I never used it before, we only have gas and maybe electric stoves in Kazakhstan. I only use the gas stove. So induction stove, you have to have a certain type of cookware to use it, because it has to be magnetic. It's the features of the induction stove. It's really efficient. It's really fast. Really, heats up your food efficiently. The cookware is provided. On some floors there's more of it, on some other floors there's less of it. That depends on your whole tutor and how much it was accumulated during the years. Maybe some people just left their in previous year left their frying pans and all of that. So yeah, be sure to see if your hall has any of that. And I don't recommend bringing anything from your home country. They all can be bought easily in Hong Kong, in IKEA, or anywhere else, for a reasonable price. Also, cooking utensils. There might be some, tongs or anything that can be help you with your cooking. You can also buy it if you would like to have your own. So yeah, but be aware that the for induction stove you have to choose the certain cookware. It has to be induction friendly. Also on the first floor of the tower, it's a common floor, so there nobody lives on the first floor. There's different rooms for activities. There's a computer room for the printing, and there is the most important laundry. Laundry has both washers and dryers. There's enough of them for the residents of the halls, of course, but in the rush hours, in the days like Sunday and Saturday, you might not be able to find a free washer and dryer. So if you're able, be sure to do laundry on the weekdays if you have time, or you will have to wait a bit for the washer and dryers to be emptied by the people who come. And it's also, you see, this might be your first time using washer and dryer on your own, and the detergent is not provided. So you have to put your own detergent, maybe pods or some powder. So yeah, be sure to buy that according to your preference again. The washer only have one setting. It's 40 degrees, I believe, water. So you will not be able to change it. It's a flat rate. I think it costs around 5 Hong Kong dollars. Yeah, be sure to check the conversion rate because it can be tricky with a local currency. Um, yeah, another thing is that that is not provided is plates and eating utensils. Of course, that one you will have to get your own. Again, there's plenty of places to find it from. I'm not recommending bringing them, so it just gonna take up space in your luggage. So yeah, let's talk a bit about my experience exactly. So I first came to Hong Kong in August 2022. It was really, really hot and it was really, really hard because there was a COVID restriction all over the place. There were COVID restrictions when I was coming to Hong Kong, when I was transitioning through another country, because there's no direct flight between Kazakhstan and Hong Kong at this time. So yeah, be sure to check how are you gonna come to Hong Kong, which route you're gonna choose. It's all individual, of course, depending on your budget, on your like luggage, how much do you have. So yeah, my first trip was crazy. I went to Thailand. I had to have a domestic flight in Thailand. That was only the only way I was able to find for myself. As of now, there are better routes. Of course, the restrictions are all lifted. You don't have to do quarantine as I did in Hong Kong for 3 days. I was staying in the quarantine hotel. Then I had to go to check in halls. Yeah, so I was living on the fifth floor of the hall, of the young hall. My hall tutor was Tara Yu, the brilliant tutor, most awesome that I couldn't get, honestly. And non-local mentor, same for best friend, Haley Yong. The I will talk later about the whole activities that they organized, but it was fantastic. My first year was full with even though we had those restrictions, we were able to, have fun and still, have this whole life. This time, I think it's going to be even more, fun because you can do anything basically in Hong Kong. Yeah, so I believe for most of you, this is gonna be your first time living on your own, like without your parents, without your family, living with some stranger at first. Of course, there's gonna be your roommate, maybe two of them. I actually had a roommate, his name was Sunny. He's from Bangladesh. And I was living with him for 2 years. We were really compatible. We were able to find a common tongue and live. And we decided to apply the second year together, actually. So yeah, we were approved. But a little bit information about the whole allocation. So for the first year, everyone is guaranteed whole residence. If you are a full scholarship recipient, I congratulate you first of all. I'm myself too. So you will be guaranteed accommodation for all 4 years, and first 2 years are going to be in halls. And the third and fourth, for me, for example, they're going to be a little bit different, but still you're going to be guaranteed accommodation for the same price as halls. But if you're not a recipient of a full scholarship, be aware that the second year, the room location will be subject to availability. And for example, my roommate was not able to get halls at first. He was actually rejected. His application was rejected. But he had a condition, he had a situation that with his knee, he had to do an operation back at his home. So he appealed with the halls so that they will provide him with the hall for the second year because it would be hard for him to find off-campus accommodation, even though he was provided with a lot of options. None of them were quite convenient for him. So if you have any problems during your stay or after your stay, please contact Hall Residence team, and they will be happy to help you. They do listen to your requests and any situation that you might be in. Yeah, and so for a lot of people, it can be also daunting to be first time in your life on your own, to be cooking on your own and maybe eating out. So as I can say, eating out is far more expensive in Hong Kong than cooking. If you're able to find the high quality, cheap ingredients, it's gonna be far more economical for you to cook for yourself. There, as I told you, there is a kitchen in lounge. Of course, it's going to be occupied by other people at times, but if you're able, you can cook. Also, if you're eating out, BU provides a lot of eating options. There's a lot of canteens all over campus. There's quite a few restaurants nearby, a couple of malls with the food courts and all that. So yeah, you can go to any groceries, buy any mall, buy any groceries that you want, any snacks, any drinks. Everything is available in Hong Kong. Maybe some stuff will be different because this is a different climate. They have different fruits and vegetables. Some might surprise you, but be sure to try them to see for yourself what is convenient for you. Another thing I would like to focus on is that accidents happen. On these photos, as you can see, I burned some bread. Yeah, if you ask me why I was having bread in the oven is because it was near the expiry date. And what we do usually in Kazakhstan and Russia and all over post-Soviet Union is we fry the bread. So we have these fried pieces that we can add to soup or anything. It's really good. Once I already did that in Halls and it was successful. So I tried it second time, but unfortunately I confused the Fahrenheit with the Celsius. So I can confuse the units of the oven. And yeah, also be aware that if your country uses metric system, Hong Kong sometimes still uses imperials, or they still use inch and pounds and the Fahrenheits. So be sure to convert and be aware of that. So I left it for like quite a while to work, and the next thing I know, the fire alarms go off, and I'm running to the kitchen, remembering that I left my bread there, and it's all smoky, like the whole floor was filled with smoke. Luckily, there was no fire; it was all just smoke. And as you can see in the second picture, there is a fire station right next to the South Tower, actually. And at times it might annoy you with the sounds and everything, but other times you'll be really grateful that it's so nearby that they can come any minute that the accidents happen. So yeah, be sure to adhere to whole regulations. No unattended cooking is allowed. It's actually punishable. You have a certain system that your points that might influence your acceptance in the next years to halls. So the more points you have, the more activities you participate in, the better your behavior, basically, the better chances of you getting halls in the second year. But yeah, be sure to adhere to whole regulations. Don't leave any cooking just on its own. It was all fine. Everything turned out fine. They just vented the whole floor, so and even the oven survived. It was just a bit a bit damaged. Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about the full floor and hall activities. This is a couple of videos from my experience of organic farming. We went to Lantau Island, we went to Tai O. If you will, look up the map, you'll see how far it is from BU. We went there to look how the farmers are um, growing their food far far away from the urban areas. It's We had to take a boat so to faster get there. First we had to take two buses to get there, then we had to take a boat. It was a really fun experience. We were able to meet some people who were like quite far from the city, and they their daily life, um, as you can see on this slide, this upper pictures also from that experience. We were eating the food that they cooked for us. Um, and this is all people from my floor. We had a really fun time there. Also, we did a couple of hikings. As you see on the lower picture, we went to Tsing Yi, I believe. Sorry for the pronunciation. We went to hike and yeah, had a really great time. Hiking is really big in Hong Kong. If you ever did it before, I never did it before, but if you ever did it before, you will enjoy the amounts of hiking trails, the infrastructure that is in place, the amounts of people that are doing hiking, all kinds of people, and young and old, especially old people are doing hiking. So you will meet everyone there. And yeah, better do it with friends so you're safe and you because it's really at that time it was really hot. The weather in Hong Kong in late summer, in fall, it's really hot, really humid. If your country doesn't experience like humidity that much, it might be a surprise for you. I remember my first time when I like it was in Thailand, but they have a similar whether I was exiting airport. I was still wearing glasses, and my glasses went um, completely white. The condensation was on them because the airport had AC, and the outside was so humid that it condensed on my glasses. So be sure to prepare. Be sure to get the appropriate clothing, and please don't bring too much clothing, because my roommate, for example, he brought two big suitcases of clothes. Almost all of them were filled with clothes, and he didn't end up using even like a fourth of them. So yeah, be sure to bring the appropriate clothing. The winter can be it's not that hot. It's always above 0 degrees, but because of the humidity, it can feel really cold. Oh, sorry, it's not that cold, but it can feel really cold. So you can bring a couple of jackets, a couple of jeans, maybe, and warmer shoes, so that in winter you can feel comfortable walking around. There's no snow, of course. So my second year was almost the same roof floor mates. Actually, my first year in halls, our floor consisted of a third international students, a third students from mainland China, and a third exchange students from all over the place, like from Europe and Asia, other Asia. I was living on the 15th floor, so as you can see, it's still young hall. My hall tutor was Eric, who's actually a brother of my previous hall tutor, and my non-local mentor was Sarar, who I know even from the first year. They were really supportive. They were really, good guys too. Brilliant tutors and non-local mentors. And actually, a little information for you: you can apply to be a non-local mentor in from the second year of your whole residence. And actually, non-local mentors are granted whole residence for the year that they are applying to. So if you want to stay in halls for longer, up until your fourth year, that's one of the options, is to be a non-local mentor. So yeah, as you can see on this picture, we had like floor parties and all that. Um, yeah, so a little bit about the groceries and the medicine. Um, when you arrive, you will apply for the Hong Kong ID. And once you have Hong Kong ID, once you applied, you are actually granted public insurance in some way. So you'll be able to use public hospitals. If anything happens, there will not be crazy, rates on any like services provided by the hospital. But BU has its own clinic. They're able to provide some basic services. There are, of course, a physician. There are not many specialists there, so they will be able to give you medicine, but they will only be able to refer you to specialists, usually the private specialists with some discount. But if you have some, regular problems like cold, or you have some, insomnia problems, just go to them and ask. The admission fee is really cheap for one time. For groceries, as you can see on the picture, it's really funny because I had to actually get my luggage, like my suitcase, to get to bring all the groceries at once because I didn't like going to the shop so many times. So I found it really convenient to just bring my suitcase and pack everything there, and then bring it and unpack. So that's one of the strategies that you might apply. It is a couple of picture of my cooking. I was able to second year of whole life. I was able to bring some horse meat from Kazakhstan, so I was able to do some national dish preparation. But most of my ration, of course, was rice and chicken and beef, and of course veggies. So yeah, I think Hall provides a lot of uh, quite a lot of kitchenware and cookware for you to cook any kind of meal. So yeah, be sure to experiment, be sure to learn how to cook because for me it was a big challenge. I didn't know how to cook, so I had to learn as I progress. If you don't keen on cooking or sometimes you're just, don't have time or energy, there are of course many options around the campus and around the area. One of them is a cafeteria, school cafeteria. Another one is a cafe. So yeah, I was actually working in the university cafe. It's called Pacific Coffee. I was working as a barista there, so I was able to get free food after the shift. So that was good too. Yeah, thank you for your attention. I think maybe I went over the time. Sorry, but yeah, I have my Instagram. You can reach me out, and yeah, thank you for your attention. Mhm.
Very good. Not only you talk about your whole life, you talk about everything. And now I'm sure there are many questions in their head, but hold your horses, students. Let's move on to Elia and Sam. Both of them have just finished their first year. So I think their experience will be very relevant to you. So Elia, your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali-chan. That was very thorough. Oh my goodness. Okay, I won't take up too much time. No worries. I'm just talking about my whole life. So, yeah. So the day I moved in, you see, I have a bigger fridge, and I think it's lucky for my room that we have a bigger fridge because we have 3 people and we all cook or we're learning to cook. And just so you know, not everyone's going to be the best cook, like Ali-chan mentioned a while ago. We all make mistakes. I've gave myself food poisoning before, but that's okay. I'm alive today. And yeah, so you don't have anything in your room when you first move in, so just a mattress. And I'll mention later where you can buy like some good furniture or just pillows and bed sheets and all. Don't sleep on just your mattress. Please sleep on at least a bed sheet. So one of the first big events in my hall life was actually the hall dinner. And as you can tell, okay, you can't tell, but the yellow shirts, it says Song Hall. And Song Hall is located in North Tower, but of course, North Tower will be taken down this year and we'll be moving to South Tower. And I was on an international floor, but my roommates are locals. And here we have also a mix on our table of some exchange, some locals, some mostly mainland, and of course other internationals as well. And it's a photo with my roommate and my unit mate. Okay, so some of the floor activities, I didn't attend too much because my hall tutor was quite busy this year, but she was very helpful with looking for places around the university. So this pizza, it looks so big. It's what they bought on our first floor dinner, as you can tell from the photo. Each floor has a hall tutor and a non-local mentor, as Ali Chan mentioned, and they help you with fitting into your hall life, finding things nearby, figuring out how to pay the aircon, or if your room has any trouble, if your floor has any trouble, especially the fridge in the back or in just anything really big around the floor, they're able to help with that. And of course, get to know your floor mates. Don't ignore them. They're very nice people. They're people you'll see every day, or at least most of every day of your next year or semester. This is my unit. Uh, so we're very close together because we were just all excited to be learning more about Hong Kong. Actually, all of us, except for one of the girls, is a year 2 student. So we were all just babies trying to understand what's happening. We didn't know how to get around. We were getting lost. We didn't know how to like get to our classes. We got lost the first day and all, but we all helped each other and supported each other, and that's the important thing. So one thing about rooming with anyone new, especially when they're strangers, is you've got to be understanding of each other, especially when you come from different cultures. You all value different things. So certain things may come up that may seem little to you, but can mean a lot to others. So please be open-minded about that. And also be aware of how they're doing throughout the year, because people will everyone will suffer in a way. Will have their own difficulties mentally or physically. So support each other and be understanding. And of course, your roommates might just be your first friends. So explore Hong Kong together if you're all international. But mine were local, and they helped me teach me a few words a little bit, and taught me how to get around Hong Kong a little bit more, especially the different types of transportation and the different districts in Hong Kong. And one thing about hall life is you get to meet a lot of new people. You won't get to know everyone. There's so many people in halls, but you can connect with people that will connect with other people, and you'll just grow as a group, and you'll grow to know new people, and you might just have the biggest group of friends anyways. One thing that got my group of friends together was actually Typhoon 8. But if you don't want to put too much information, but there will be 3 typhoon signals: Typhoon 1, 3, and 8. And within Typhoon 1 and 3, you can go out, it's fine. Just bring an umbrella and be careful. But when it's Typhoon 8, after a few hours, believe the public transportation will stop working. And if you're outside, do your best to stay inside. And one thing my friends and I did was play ping pong on the first floor, because we have that in our halls. And that's how we got connected to each other. And well, as you can tell from the right side bottom corner, we play games together, and we go out to visit Tim Ta Shui, the harbor, take the ferry. It's all exploring Hong Kong really, and getting used to school life, getting used to this new environment with new people. And trust me, you're not the only one lost. And you'll most all first years when you're together, you'll be lost together, and you'll learn how to get around Hong Kong. And one day you'll just be like, I know Hong Kong. Okay. Of my cooking experience, a bit more colorful because I don't like to cook too much meat, unfortunately. Well, most of hall life, you won't exactly cook too much if you're going out and exploring. But one thing you can learn from cooking is just getting along with people in your halls. I guess cooking experience is not always the best for everyone, and not everyone cooks either. Some people really just can't cook. So there's, of course, the BU Fiesta. It's actually located in the ground floor of the undergraduate halls. And sometimes once you find your group of friends, you can plan to cook together. And one of my photos here is actually my group of friends cooking hot pot together after our semester ends. And it was nice, very cold winter with a very warm soup, and got to hang out with some of the exchange friends before they left. It was really wholesome experience. And some extra advice, as I mentioned, furniture. I would recommend going to IKEA if you want to buy like a lot of everything is all together there. If you don't have IKEA where you're from, IKEA will have pillows, bed sheet, mattress covers, uh, plates, pots, just anything you need on the go, or sorry, not on the go, but the first few weeks you're there, you'll need a few things in your room, of course, to settle in a little. And if you need any help understanding the MTR system, you could use the map or text me. I like to travel a bit around Hong Kong. And of course, application of the halls, I hope it'll be soon, and apply as soon as possible so you can at least try and get your desired type of room. But it's no promises for everyone, but at least you can be in halls and get to know new people. And I heard this from others, but you could contact your hall tutor if you figure out who they are early on to help moving in. My first day here, I met my hall tutor and non-local mentor, and they taught me how to pay my aircon through the HKBU app, which will be quite useful to get around BU and to figure out your study life throughout, like where you're at. Okay, this is all I have. Thank you.
Yay! Last but not least, Sam. Sam
All right.
there. We'll be wrapping up, and then we'll have Q&A. Everybody host your horses. Sam, pass on to you.
Yeah, sure. All right. So I briefly introduced myself just now, but my name is Samuel, and am a year 2 student under the School of Business studying finance. So I want to share today regarding my chai hall experiences, the most memorable experiences I have, which is on the 18th floor. We decided to like vote on our name as like 18. I don't really agree with it, but okay. So my first largest event I partook in was actually the floor decoration competition. It's a competition where all the floors gather around, all the people in the floor gather around and work together to win the competition because it's money. Like who doesn't want money? Um, so they judge it based on creativity, based on aesthetics, and this is the best time to like mingle with people because in the first month, like everyone is essentially strangers, everyone is still like acquaintances. There's no cliques yet. So it's the best time to make your own clique per se. And I didn't only help on 18th floor. I also helped on the 8th floor because they called me. My roommate is a local, and we both decided to help the 8th floor do their competition. And somehow, some way, my floor won the competition. We also won the cleanliest floor, and we got our money. We were able to buy food with it. We were able to buy dumplings, and we also got to buy an air fryer because unless the previous year left some appliances for you, your floor actually doesn't really have much to offer. Then you have to like chip in to buy all the cooking equipments that you need. Um, Let me go. Right. So another big event that we had was a inter-hall hike at Lantau Peak. So the floor 10 and floor 18 of the same tower uh partook in a hike to Lantau Peak. So they gave us like a timeline like 2 weeks beforehand or a deadline. So we were able to like shift all our schedules so we were able to go out and enjoy Hong Kong together. And um somehow, some way, one of the members like locked himself out the room, so half of us had to stay back. And we had to wait until his roommate came and unlocked the door, and then we finally reunited at like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when we took the photos. And from 1 till around 6, maybe, we took the hike, and it was like grueling, honestly. Like a lot of people just want to like opt out. They wanted to drop out, but like I guess they persevered so that we could take the photos finally. At but it also depends on what time you arrive. You have to like wait because this wasn't only between 10th and 18th floor. It was like a lot of other floors participated. And that's where you're able to communicate with other floors, not only your own floors. Um, and after the event, we were able to eat breakfast together. So some people left early, some people like arrived at halls at like 10 in the morning and like decided to stick the whole day. It was like holiday, so it was like all good. And lastly, I think this is where I want to really share about roommates. It's really important to have people backing you up, like no matter what. I live in a three-person room, five-person unit, but you can see there's four people here. Um, so I'm on the left, my local roommate, he's on beside me, and the French is actually beside the Nigerian. And we like technically adopted the Nigerian because he came to our room. He barged in anytime he wanted, like 2 o'clock in the morning. He woke us up. Yo, let's go eat. You know, that's like what hall life is. Like the spur of a moment, you can make lifelong friendships. We went everywhere together. We went hiking. We went picnic. We went to bars. I even went to an exchange trip to Zhuhai with my roommate. He was the one who brought me out of my room and decided to sign me up for it. And as Elia mentioned, I think it's really important to have patience and understanding because you have to consider the fact that you guys come from different cultures. Um, there are certain things that are acceptable in your culture that might not be acceptable in theirs. So you have to like be able to communicate well, don't throw tantrums. I think we're all old enough and mature enough to be able to convey how we're feeling in a way. Um, you'll be living alongside them like throughout the year. So even until now, my roommate for summer halls is actually Axel, the French. And for next academic year, I'll be living with the local Andy and Axel again for next academic year. So these are your lifelong friends essentially. And lastly, I think I have some tips for you guys. Um, do your own research. Like, no two experiences are the same. I feel like if you've ever stalked someone, this is the time to use your skills. Like you have to stalk the hall floors. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, and they have like different events they posted in the past in which you can like really resonate with. Would I want to live in Chai Hall? Would I want to live in Zhao, Song, uh, and Yang? And if you aren't able to be in the hall you chose, I think it's not something you should stress about. Like for instance, my additional roommate, he's from Young Hall on the 17th floor. Uh, I was able to come to his room every single day. He was able to come to my room every single day. And for also have a Malaysian friend on the 15th floor of which was Ali's Han's floor. Actually, Sarar's roommate was my friend, so I met Sarar a lot as well. I also had friends from the Young Hall Council. He was the president, Ricky. I often ate with him during lunch. I also had friends from Elia's floor. There was a couple of French girls that I was close with that I interacted with a lot. And lastly, I think you should be able to reach out to your seniors. Before I came to BU, I reached out to my Indonesian seniors. He already graduated, but he was able to give me really good guiding points in um, where and how I should live my life in Hong Kong. Like as an Indonesian, what are things that I need to adapt to? Things, small details like this will eventually like really increase your quality of life. I think that's all I have to share today. I'll pass it on to Sam.
Okay, everybody cannot wait to start asking questions. I just want to tidy up. Well, first of all, thank you all, three of you. Uh, I wonder if the audience share, but I love when you trust us so much to tell us about some of the challenges that you've had in the past. It's never easy. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Um, I want to respond to some of this stuff. I just want to point out a few things that I heard just now that I want to clarify before we go into the all those questions. Well, first of all, I think at one point, um, it was Aishan who mentioned that, in year one, you can apply to hall, year two, you cannot apply to hall, or it's subject to allocation, and third year on, you can't. Uh, for the newcomers, the student who is going to join us in September, and also for the three of you, because we will have a new hall, which is village care, that could change. That could be more flexible in the future. So right now, I was just checking the website right just now. Um, now the halls that you can apply in subsequent years. It's always subject to allocation, but it didn't stop you from applying in the third year. So it would be good news. And then the other thing Alishan mentioned was that when you arrive Hong Kong, you get your Hong Kong ID. So it's almost like you get an insurance. Well, he is right about it's almost because it's not, but you do get to enjoy the medical support or welfare just like a Hong Kong citizen, and it's extremely cheap. And we do not ask for money before we cure people. Like if you are in, if anyone is in danger, then they will be saved first. So I still encourage you to buy an insurance if you are more, if you want to have more coverage. And also, he's right about the clinic, so that is available too. Um, let's see. I would say and then some of the questions. Okay, again, first I will only answer questions about this hall life and student hall today first, because that's our focus. Also, stop worrying about the recording. Everybody got recording. Afterwards, it will take time, but yes. And of course, it will be by email. How have I ever sent you post? Dear, stop worrying about yourselves. Okay, okay. I want to, you know what? I will start asking the panel questions. First, and I think you can combine this too. Who organized interfloor floor hall activities? And how do you raise your chance of living in the hall? I think Aisha mentioned that, but maybe Sam and Elia, you can answer who organized activities, and then Alishan, you can talk about how to raise your chance of getting the hall again.
Okay. I don't know too much on the hall, like how it's organized, but I know that each hall has a council, and your floor hall tutors are the ones they're part of the hall, not exactly the council, but like they're in connection with them. And as they prepare like activities, your hall tutor should be able to text the group, your floor group, and tell you about the upcoming events in the hall or inter-hall activities. One was playing football in the courtyard. I'm not sure about the other halls. My hall wasn't too loud, I guess. We didn't do too much activities. Like I didn't know about too much of it because we don't exactly have a council this year. But I'm not sure about South Tower because they're more like you see them more like with activities and all.
I think for me, you hold monthly events. Like it's necessary for a hall tutor and non-local mentor to host events, monthly events. And there's also the addition of like hall council. They also host events. Um, and as well, not only that, there's also other events for different ambassadors. There's programs that they must like complete, and they invite the hall people. They target the hall people. So I think it's not, you don't really need to worry much about events because there's always going to be an event for you waiting for you every month.
So Aisha, maybe you can also share something about who organized activities because you have more experience, and also how to get back to the hall, which in your
Yeah.
opinion, we actually don't know, but in your opinion.
So it's actually, whole tutor and non-local mentor job to organize events. Like they're not exactly getting paid for it, but they are provided with certain benefits that they have to fulfill. They have to organize events. So your whole tutor will constantly do something. They will notify you, of course, because they want to have more attendance. That's concerning the floor events. The whole events, of course, as the previously was mentioned by guys, it is organized by whole council, so they might involve some more serious, going out or like more funding, for example. And yeah, how to get back to halls. There is a system in place, as I'm aware, of merit points and demerit points. So the more you participate in different activities, the more you contribute to any kinds of processes happening at HKBU. If you're active, like in the volunteering or anything like that, if you participate in the events that are organized by council and they do know that you participate, you will get more of those points. If you do violate any of the hall rules, you will do get demerit points. Your like total will be decreased. Actually, at some point, if you get too many of them, you might be expelled from the halls, which is haven't happened, of course, before, as I'm aware. But it might significantly affect your further applications. So a person with a higher points might have a better chance of getting in the next year into halls.
Great. So I will answer some question quickly. First, it's not compulsory. You can totally stay on off campus. Absolutely fine. There is no compulsory requirement to stay at hall whatsoever. And also, many students asked about indicating preference, whether this is room type or hall or roommate whatsoever. You can indicate your preference in the application. Everything is subject to the final decision of the UG halls. So when I said, we don't know, the thing is, this is a university. A university runs like a city. So as high school student, you might not understand now. Well, your seniors are nothing because they understand the transition. The change could be huge. So every single unit handle different things. And for example, the hall is handled by the undergraduate halls. We call it UG hall office. And they lines out the rules. They make the decision. There's nothing I can do, even if I cry and knock on their door, say, please help. Like that we all have to follow their policy and rules. So if you have any questions about halls, you have to contact them and they will make the final decision. I think they do try to support every student in a way, but then they also try to be very fair because we have students from all backgrounds. And I mean, I have seen some really absurd requests sometimes, like I have to wake up at 3 in the morning, so I must have a private room class. Otherwise, I would disturb everybody. Like, no, it's not a super legit reason to get a private room. Someone also asked if there is single room in the new hall. There will be, I believe, but I'm not sure whether there's any restriction on it has to be a senior student to take a single room or not. We have to wait for the policy to be announced, and that all those instructions and details will be sent by the undergraduate hall office at noon on Monday. Even I get this information, so I don't get a peek of what is going to be delivered to you. And so we will have to all wait until Monday. I think someone also asked about what's the difference between an international hall and a regular hall. Maybe you guys can explain according to your experience, but again, because so what happened is we have two buildings, and then we will have the third one in the next year, and one of the existing building will close. So I believe things will be very different next year. I'm not sure if there will still be what is called regular or international halls, but in case there is, then maybe you guys can explain a little bit. Or maybe you can tell us, did you stay at the international halls, or what is it like?
I can start. So as I mentioned before, like my roommates were local, so it doesn't 100% mean that the whole floor is just going to be international. It just depends on availability, and mostly it'll be a mix, like international as in like outside of Hong Kong, but majority will just mean like it depends on availability. So it could be some floors, like I knew some people who chose to be an international hall, but ended up in a local floor because they didn't have enough international people in that year, in that hall, or in that building. Yeah.
Personally for me, I feel like there's always gonna be for an international floor, there's gonna be one or two locals in it, and for a local floor, there's gonna be one or two international that get placed there. And I personally feel like I would prefer to stay in an international floor just because of the language. I wouldn't want to force someone else to speak a different language just because I'm not able to speak their language. And but don't let it be a limiting factor where like if you meet a local, you wouldn't want to talk to them. I think there's like some misconceptions in that area because my roommate is a local and I'm like completely fine with it. Um, but it's up to your preference at the end of the day. If you want to challenge yourself, you could go to a local floor if you choose.
Yeah, a little bit from me. Um, the most most people living in halls are locals actually. The internationals comprise some portion of it, but most people are locals. So most of the floors are actually fully local. And as previously was mentioned, there might be a couple of internationals here and there. It's all random, to be honest. I'm not sure the exact, you know, policies for how is it done. But for example, for me, for the first year, as I said, it was a third international students coming from all over the place, not from Hong Kong. A third was mainland students who are also considered internationals, and a third was exchange student who are coming only for a semester or a year. So when a semester ends and you will live in halls, of course, for the full year, some people might change in the second semester. People might depart. New people might come. It can be also local people. They don't stay in halls for the whole time. They usually only allowed to stay a semester or a year. So if there are some locals on your floor, they're also going to be changing probably. Yeah, that's just a bit of information on that.
Great. Okay. I think I also want to add on. I think Samuel mentioned that you can go learn about the halls, go to stalk their Facebook page and or Instagram and see what they have done. That is yes and a no, because again, it's just like what Elia said. That year they might not have a good counsel, or maybe your year do not have a good counsel, or next year they have an extremely good counsel. So uh, I would actually share the official video with you so that you get a sense of what they present to start with, and then also maybe the webinar of last year, so you can compare at least from more, get more point of view so that you can be more confused and worried. Because no, seriously, students, I mean, while I appreciate, I mean, we are really hitting the record this time, like having a lot of students joining this webinar, which I am so happy, because it means that you are getting ready. But please don't over worry. There are only that many things that we can prepare. And then the fun part is you don't know. So let's do that. Gender. Someone asked about gender floor. I believe there are, we have co-ed floor, where one wing we have boys, one wing we have girls, but we also have like a single gender floor. So just a whole floor of boys, whole floor of girls. And I believe in the instruction from the student hall, they will give you information on that, which floor will be what, because again, the next year will be very different from the past years, given the new halls. The new halls is right next to the old halls, so it's still on campus. You can still wear pajamas to classes, which is not recommended, but sometimes it happens. Everybody laugh because when you have an 8:30 and you wake up at 8:24, I totally did that. Oh, Alijan actually mentioned something about laundry, and I don't do laundry at weekend. I wish someone told me that when I was in uni, because we always do that. And so it's either at midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning, waiting at laundry room, or I actually buy a lot of clothes, because I always run out of clean clothes. And I mean, we have extended the expiry day for a few days, but it's still not working. No one is doing the laundry, which is horrible. So that one, I think someone asked about beauty salon. I really will leave that to you to explore. That is not a necessity. But when we talk about necessity, I also want to, I don't know if you get that from the presentation, but I think seriously, do not bring that much stuff. Uh, a little story. When I entered uni, actually, it happens to every time when I enter school. First year in primary school, first year in high school, first year in uni. I told my mom, I think I should get a new school bag. I want to be a cool kid. And then she was like, what school bag is cool? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And then she'll go like, let's go to school first and then observe. And then you will know which is the cool school bag and we will get that. So I would say the same about staying in the dormitory. Just bring the necessity, like the really important stuff with you, and then for the rest, do not rush into buying everything on your day one. Is not necessary. If you might meet someone and then they say, "Oh, you need something? I have a mug that I don't need anymore. I have a plane I don't need anymore," and then you don't have to buy them. So don't bring everything. Don't buy everything. Also, do not think that, oh, because I'm studying abroad, then I have to buy all sorts of stuff. In the past, I think students asked about whether we should get both like a new iPhone, a tablet, and a laptop. I mean, like seriously, no, no. Just bring whatever you have now first, and then come and find out what is a better option or what is more necessary for you. So I'm trying to find out those questions which is more related to the hall. Gym. Do we have a 24-hour gym? Terence, really 24 hours? We do we in the year? You are nodding?
There's two treadmills and a few other exercise machine and some dumbbells or some exercise mats. But during the year, it depends on the time of availability. Sometimes the door is locked, but you could just use your room card to open it.
Right, great. Okay. And I think someone also asked about, or Samuel mentioned about, or Elia mentioning about like how to settle in. Maybe you can, find out who your tutor is. Actually, okay, first, students who are in the crowd right now, you should have been offered whether you want to contact any of the current students. And if you say yes, you should have received information from us. If you haven't and you want to connect with any senior students who might be from your country or from your major, then email your country manager. It could be me or Cheryl or Jesse. Okay. You should know us by now. We've been emailing you for months. And then we are actually hoping to, Samuel, we are hoping that maybe the International Association can help this year. So we would discuss with the International Association, which is like a student union for international students, and also maybe the Students Affairs Office, so that we can hopefully better support the students. I do not see any more hall related questions, so I will start answering questions that is not hall related. And the panelists, if you don't have time, you may go, but I would really appreciate if you can stay in case I need your help. So I will start by, again, the whole application. I mentioned that it will send out, the invitation instructions will be sent out by the undergraduate hall's office on Monday at around noon, Hong Kong time. Always Hong Kong time, always by email, not post, not SMS, not whatever. Again, preference can be indicated. You can indicate anything. I believe there is a place where you can indicate stuff. You can even email them afterwards. There will be an email address. But everything lies with them. Like they make the final decision. I think Elia mentioned that you should apply as soon as possible. I don't think you need to rush to that, in fact, because there is a period of time from 18th to 17th. So you can take all the time to do your research and ask questions even before you make the decision, because I think they will handle everything in one go. But do complete the application by 17th. And we always have some students who miss it. Don't worry about it. We will look at the list we would communicate with the hall and ask who haven't applied, and we will make sure that whoever want to apply gets the information and apply. Okay, but do check your email, your junk mailbox, everything. You know how it goes. You are smart. Okay. And if you have question, you can email them. So that's one thing. The second, now, many students ask about Hong Kong ID, but honestly, prioritize your worries. Your biggest worries right now, not worries, your biggest concern right now should be your student visa. Okay. And most of you have submitted the student visa application, and many of you are waiting. And we are as anxious as you are, and it's always anxiety, no matter how smooth it goes. Everybody's still like, why don't I get it like right away? Like it's been 48 hours or more. But first, we are dealing with government department. Immigration is always the one that you cannot control. They have no obligation to give you any interim updates. No updates is always good updates from immigration until they give you the approval. Because if they ask for anything, it will only mean, if not a bad result, but prolonging the procedure. So if you don't hear from us or immigration, is actually good news. Now, the immigration headquarters have a big relocation this summer, and it just happened last month, a couple of weeks ago. So they are definitely still recovering for sure. We have already chased for a few times and getting some feedback. So some students are getting it. So we are having good hope. We are feeling positive. We are feeling that the immigration is catching up, but please be patient. Keep emailing us wouldn't help. we don't have updates, and that is a good news. Okay. And I mean, from what you have worked with us all this month, you know we got you covered. And we are the one who want you to come at the end of the day because we have worked so hard. Well, of course you want to come too, but we won't just let it, yeah, whatever. They come or not, it doesn't work that way. We are on it. So leave that to us. But do check your emails, because if the immigration does ask for additional information, you should respond as soon as possible and also let us know. Okay. We hope that everybody will get the visa on time. It usually does, because the immigration does understand. It could be very pressing. It could come maybe in the second week of August, or third week of August, or fourth week of August, but it usually comes before the beginning of class, because they know when we start classes. It always starts at the same time every year, and it happens to all students, to all Hong Kong universities. You are not the only one. So let's have a little bit faith here. Now, our suggestion is always do not buy your flight ticket until you get your visa. If you have a lot of money and you don't care whatsoever, you can go ahead and buy a ticket that you can change anytime and pay the penalty every time you change the ticket, but it's not recommended. Okay. You should always wait for the visa. And if I have already received a few inquiries about buying flight ticket, including the name of the Hong Kong airport, just so you know, there is only one. And if you Google, it's easy. But I can understand that you might not have experience traveling abroad, which is very common. I would say start by Googling. I do that all the time. I go for ChatGPT. How do I arrange my travel to Hong Kong? Um, don't trust them 100% because they lie sometimes. Do multiple research, go to multiple platform, or go to your teacher, go to a local travel agent and seek for advice. Okay, this is also big part of you preparing yourself for a studying abroad. So you are transitioning from, remember the first webinar, you are transitioning from a high school student to a uni student, and that is practically meaning you're becoming an adult with the support and advice from other students or other people, of course, someone you trust. So don't buy ticket. That is our advice until you get the visa approved, and seek help from your local travel agent, your family members or teacher if you have to. Someone asked about insurance. We do not handle insurance, and it's completely an individual decision whether you want to buy it or not, because it's not required by Hong Kong. But if you want to do that, you should also again consult with your senior family, or go online and do some research. I would be so busy if I was at your age. And well, when I was at your age, there was no internet. Can you imagine? I have to go to the library and, check everything. And if I have the internet, I would just check everything. Yes, I'm 202 years old. I'm way older than you thought. Now, moving on. What is that next thing? Hong Kong ID. Yes. What is this? Why is it so worrying about Hong Kong ID, honestly? So Hong Kong ID is something that you will apply after you arrive Hong Kong. Again, if you want to move ahead, you want to take a step ahead before everybody, you can Google and do some research. But next month, we will have a webinar on pre-departure, and where we will talk about how to open a bank account, how to get a Hong Kong ID. And they mentioned something about Octopus card, which is like a value-added card. We will talk about that too. But students, the reason is that you can't digest all the information, and it's not, I mean, as the senior, we always do that the same with them, step by step. We take care of everything in one stage, and we move on to the other stage. And we do that by experience. Okay, so trust, give us some trust here. All right. Right. So student ID Octopus. Right. And then also something not related to hall that I want to mention. We just sent out an email to those who get a conditional offer today to remind you to send us your result. Now, for the IB student, you should have authorized us. If you haven't, that will be a problem. So contact us, and then we will deal with that. And we will try to, get your official results as soon as possible. For the rest, if you already have your IELTS, your, exam, national exam result whatsoever, once you get it, send it to us. Definitely. And because that would change your conditional offer into a firm offer. And if anyone asks, you'll be like so legit. For the GCE student, don't worry. Everybody know, the whole world knows that you don't have the result yet, so that is fine. But this is it for the offer. So let's see some. Do we have some new question? Um, if you don't have your visa before classes start, we hope that won't happen, and that would be a very special case. So I don't want to discuss about it here and worry everybody. We will definitely try our best to make it happen. What if they ask me additional information? They didn't specify how to provide it. That is not usually not the case. If immigration asks you to provide information, they will be very exact. And if you have question, you can also always email us. You can always email me, Cheryl, or Jesse. Um, when do you move to the into the dorm? Now, the first check-in day this year should be extremely early. I read some information earlier. It should be 16th of August, but please wait for the official information to be shared by the student hall on Monday. Okay. Um, so yes, right. So we have already sent the academic calendar to you earlier, so you can always refer to at the academic calendar on when is the first day of class. Okay, there will be orientation before that, and we will try to accommodate any kind of special situation, or at least try to facilitate or coordinate. But right now, if you haven't done your research, go ahead and do that. I don't know why you haven't, but do that. If you have just paid, then you will get instruction to do your visa and act quickly once you receive instruction. Um, and that's pretty much it. Okay. Fraha, if you have been asked, oh, right, Fraha and everyone else who received an email saying that your application has been received. Wait, but recently received an email asking me to submit as soon as possible. Okay, wait. That's two emails. If your application has been approved, you should be informed by email, and then we will arrange the payment. Do not pay that. We have write it in the email very clearly. If you pay that on your own, there will be no refund. So wait for us to do the payment, because the thing is, it's not just payment. We do double check every single details, and there are, of course, error in the past, which we find out and ask the immigration to change. But there are also worse cases where the students think they were so smart, or they were so eager to get the visa, they pay for it. They didn't notice the mistake. So let us do our job, because we know best. Okay. Next, okay. Someone says submitted. Okay, anything that is special about individual cases, write email to us. I don't want to discuss individual immigration application details here in a recording, like a recorded webinar. Okay, anything else in the chat box? I think I have finished all the questions. Wait. Oh, someone asked about medicine. Yes, I think for most cases that should be all right. I do recommend that you go to your GP, your family doctor, your general practitioner, and ask them if they recommend any medicine to you. But if you are not sure about whether it's allowed into Hong Kong, do check the customs website, because I think some kind of, maybe some sort of painkillers, or there are some kind of medicine that might be over the counter here in Hong Kong but not in your country. So do check that. Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, since all three panelists is still here, may I ask all of you to wrap this up, to say just one thing, one last thing. If you can say one thing to yourself 1 year before, or 2 years before. Like if you can go back to that time, just like them, waiting to come to Hong Kong, what would you say? Let's do it again. Alisa, Ilya, and Samuel.
Yeah. Uh, to myself and to everyone that's coming, I would say manage your finances, because that is going to be the first probably time in your life that you're going to have your own finances, that you're going to have to spend on yourself and others at times. So be mindful of your financial situation. Don't allow yourself to, get into any debts, any kind of situation that will force you to, um, you know, spend too little money, or just be mindful with the money. Yeah, because from now on, your adult life starts, and almost all of it involves money.
That's very good tips, and that's a very big brother tips. But students, you should have attended or at least watched the video we did on managing your finance in the first month. Remember? Anyone big fans of us should have watched it. If you haven't, you already got the link and you have missed that. So go back to that webinar, and this is so useful. Okay, next, Ilya.
Definitely don't be afraid to ask for help, and homesickness is a real thing. Like, call your family, call your friends. Everyone's here to support you on your university journey, especially at the beginning. It can be very difficult when you move to a whole new country and you have all these new things that you don't understand. So ask for help when you need it.
For me, like I'm dead serious when I say this, but when you arrive, you have to input in undergraduate halls as your destination point. Because I arrived actually in the old campus and I had to walk like 20 minutes with like, I don't know, all my baggage and my luggage. And I was like sweating, I was smelly. I didn't have shampoo. Like I didn't know where the um I didn't know where the nearest grocery store was. Yeah. So I think that's like really practical. Like you because HKBU actually has a few like buildings, and if you can't speak Canto, the taxi driver won't actually know which part of HKBU you want to go. And if you're a new student, you wouldn't not know either. And I went to Old Campus instead of the residence place. Yeah.
Well, very practical tips. Uh, very useful. Well, next month we will talk about pre-departure, and hopefully students will be better prepared. And also, as we have a better, not better, we have a bigger student, international student population, and some brilliant minds in the international association here. So hopefully we will do some better support this year. To the students, honestly, it's really not my job. We are in the admissions. We can just say, you're admitted and buy, but I mean, you guys, we've been on this journey for so long. We hope that it will be a smooth one at the end. So I think we have to wrap this up. Go back to the emails. If you have any doubts, you can always reach out to us, but strongly recommended that you read all our emails to start with. And all those webinars we recommended to you, yes, they are, you can just fast forward them if you don't like them, but don't just, yeah, I don't want to do it, because that's why we do all this stuff. So thank you once again, the three of you, and thank you all for staying through this one almost 1.5 hour. Take care, and I'll see you in Hong Kong soon.